While there are many locations on Earth that could be mistaken for paradise, there are also many areas where it is not safe to set foot because of the unknown dangers that may be waiting around every corner. If you're seeking for a vacation spot that's not only beautiful but also safe, we've outlined the areas you shouldn't go. If you're planning a global vacation, you should probably steer clear of the places that have consistently ranked among the most dangerous in the world. Several of the most lethal ones are included in this list. These destinations are made for the truly adventurous traveler. If you've been keeping a bucket list full of the world's most dangerous destinations without realizing the dangers involved, you're in for a bad surprise. Check out the horror down below. 1. The Death Road. Thrill seekers from all over the world are cautioned not to venture down this road. Biking along the notoriously perilous Death Road is widely regarded as one of Bolivia's most exciting and adrenaline-pumping pastimes. It's been updated throughout the past 2 decades, so it should be safer now, right? But I have to ask, how secure is it really? Death Road is the common name for the North Yungas Road for all the obvious reasons. This switchback spans 43 miles, 69 kilometers, and it is incredibly dangerous to drive up or down it because of the fog, landslides, cascades, and cliffs that drop 2,000 feet, 610 meters, at every turn. Very few places on this route wider than 10 feet, 3 meters, are free from crosses erected in memory of those who perished there. Every year until 1994, about 300 motorists were killed here. The name fits perfectly. Prisoners from Paraguay during the Chaco War in the 1930s made the road shorter. The route links La Paz, the Bolivian capital, with Coroico, a major city in the country. The Yungas Road begins in La Paz and quickly ascends to an altitude of 15,260 feet, 4,650 meters, before leveling off 1,190 meters. While the route is confined by mountains on all sides, it is long enough to reach from the Amazon jungle to the nation's capital. So it was typical for merchants to cram onto trucks and buses to bring their wares into town for sale. Unfortunately, not every vehicle could make it around the tight corners, and many people lost their jobs and their homes when their trucks overturned. Up until 2006, the only way to go from Coroico to La Paz was via the North Yungas route. There was hardly enough room for one lane of traffic, yet drivers of all kinds braved the trip anyhow. In 2009, the government finally built a new road close to the nearby mountains. The new highway is 2 lanes wide and is in excellent condition. 2 lanes of traffic, brand new asphalt, drainage systems, and guardrails have been added to North Yungas. However, it remains a popular place for people to meet their deaths. Today, locals and tourists alike continually risk their lives on the dangerous road. More than a dozen cyclists have reportedly died along this road in the last decade, and tour operators use it to lead bicycle tours. Is it then the most perilous highway on the planet? Certainly it was, but perhaps, and this is a good thing, it no longer holds that distinction. As long as you drive carefully and on the left side of the road, it's a beautiful trip. Those of you who are thrill-seeking cyclists and want to try this extreme sport, we don't advocate it, but we'll cross our fingers for you. 2. Snake Island. In the late 1920s, the local lighthouse keeper and his family supposedly met their death thanks to vipers that slithered in through the windows, leaving Snake Island desolate ever since. The Navy now inspects the lighthouse on a regular basis to do maintenance and to make sure no daring explorers are getting too close to the island. A big burning island. Media comments on Wikimedia. Formerly unproven predictions of as many as 400,000 snakes on Snake Island have been disproven over the years. The snakes, according to another island myth, were brought there by pirates who hid wealth there. The reality is that increasing sea levels are to blame for the appearance of the vipers, which is a less fascinating origin story than paranoid pirates, but nevertheless interesting all the same. Approximately 10,000 years ago, rising sea levels separated the landmass now known as Snake Island from the Brazilian mainland. No Brazilian would ever set foot on an island located roughly 90 miles off the country's southeastern coast. The last fisherman who got too close to Snake Island is said to have been found floating in his boat, dead in a pool of blood days later. Due to the dangers that lurk on the enigmatic Ilha da Queimada Grande, Brazil has banned any travel to the island. The island is home to one of the world's deadliest snakes, the golden lancehead pit viper. Between 2,000 and 4,000 lanceheads, some of which can reach lengths of almost 1.5 feet, are thought to inhabit Snake Island. A human bitten by a lancehead may not make it through the night. As a result of millennia of isolation, the species that ended up living on Queimada Grande diverged in appearance and behavior from those living on the mainland, especially the golden lanceheads. Since birds were the only source of food for the island vipers, their venom became increasingly potent over time. The snakes on Ilha da Queimada Grande rely on migratory birds for sustenance because the native birds are too smart to get caught by any of the island's various predators. 3. Lake Natron. Medusa, the Greek monster whose look turned men to stone, is well known to everyone. This is not true, yet there is a natural wonder in Africa that fulfills this myth. It's said that the animals in North Tanzania turn to stone when they drink from a certain interior lake. In the unsettling eastern part of the East African Rift, you'll find Lake Natron, a hypersaline and very alkaline lake. Lake Natron is the most well-known of Tanzania's 4 alkaline lakes. This lake is only 3 meters deep yet 22 kilometers across. The southern Owasso Ngero River in Kenya supplies water for it. An unusual variety of lava high in sodium and potassium carbonates flowed down the slopes of the Old Oinyo Lengai volcano and into the lake during the Pleistocene epoch. There was no way for water to leave the lake and rainfall was spotty, so it dried up over the course of several centuries. Due to the concentration of hazardous trona, sodium sesquicarbonate dihydrate, and natron, hydrated sodium carbonate, in the residual water, a toxic brine was produced. Its alkalinity is on average 10.5, its pH is higher than 12, and its water temperature is between 40 and 60 degrees Celsius. High levels of cyanobacteria have been found in Lake Natron's water. Most creatures that consume this algae suffer damage to their cells, neurological systems, and livers due to the chemical it produces. Many of the animals and birds who visit Lake Natron to quench their thirst perish. Animals, birds, and bats that drown and calcify become mummies. Many of these creatures have been photographed by the great artist Nick Brandt, who has posed them in convincing settings. Petrified is the name of his series. 4. Oymyakon. The village of Oymyakon in Yakutia, northeast Russia, is the coldest permanently inhabited settlement in the world. With average January temperatures of -50 C, Oymyakon has seen temperatures as low as -71.2 degrees Celsius. This is the coldest temperature ever measured in the Northern Hemisphere and the coldest temperature ever measured anywhere on Earth where humans live permanently. The term Siberian winter accurately describes the climate in this region. Tomter, a settlement in the Oymyakon Valley, is located at an elevation of around 750 meters above sea level, making the seasonal range of daylight hours there 3 hours in the winter and 21 hours in the summer. Summertime highs in the 30s are not uncommon, despite the region's notoriously frigid winters. It is not uncommon for the temperature to dip to -15 C in August as the weather begins to shift. From Yakutsk, the regional capital and home to the world's lowest winter temperatures, the only dependable route to Oymyakon is a 2-day trip. Daily non-stop flights connect Moscow and Yakutsk, 6 hours 30 minutes. The Kolyma Highway, often known as the Road of Bones, was constructed in the 1930s by Stalin's captives and passes close to the Pole of Cold. From Yakutsk, travelers can travel to Magadan by way of 3 distinct mountain ranges, each of which contributes to the area's distinct climate in its own right. 6. Gates of Hell. Near the settlement of Darvaza, home to about 350 people, is a 230-foot-wide crater that has been burning for more than 50 years in Turkmenistan's hot, vast Karakum desert. Darvaza gas crater may be the official name, but locals refer to it as the Gates of Hell. The fireball can be seen for kilometers around. In 1971, a Soviet drilling rig punched into a vast underground natural gas cavern, causing the ground to collapse and the rig to fall in. This catastrophe resulted in the creation of the Gates of Hell crater. When a gas bubble was pierced, toxic vapors leaked out at an alarming rate. The Soviets thought that by lighting the hole on fire, they could prevent a major environmental disaster from occurring. Even after many years have passed, the inferno has not died down. Somewhere underneath the Gates of Hell is the Soviet drilling rig, or so the rumor goes. It's incredible that so many people continue to brave the desert heat and the crater's ominous moniker to experience the crater in all its flaming splendor. People love to go wild camping in the neighboring desert. What will happen to the smoking crater, though, is uncertain. President Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov of Turkmenistan issued a directive to investigate extinguishing the blaze in January 2022. On the same planet as the idyllic getaways we've always dreamed of visiting, we'll find plenty of wild and dangerous regions. This list of the world's most dangerous cities can help you make a more well-rounded bucket list. Don't be shy about telling your other travelers about this.